回合的发车顺序呢，将会由第2回合的排位赛成绩决定。所以呢，今天的杆位是由 Phantom Pro Racing 的2位车手，6号车组的何小乐和他的搭档王日升共同来从杆位起跑发车。那么，不知道这一条马来西亚5.54公里长的这条赛道会为我们的车手带来怎样的挑战呢？让我们一起拭目以待吧。 Well, everyone, welcome back to the 2019 season of China GT Championship right here at Sepang International Circuit of Malaysia. I'm Sophia Lee. It's my great honor to see the 13 cars ready for a 1-hour racing in this beautiful circuit. So what can we do? Because the second race, the starting grid is decided by the second qualifying session. So car number 6, He Xiaole and his teammate Sunny Wang gonna start it from pole position. So let's just see this 5.54 kilometer circuit gonna bring what kind of excitement to all the drivers. 那在接下来非常精彩的画面要为大家呈现之前，让我们一起来回顾一下在第1场比赛当中的一些精彩回放吧。And before we get all the attention on the track, let's just take a look at the video clip that will show you what happened on race 1. Take a look.非常感谢谢总今天来到我们的直播当中。首先跟我们分享一下，其实基于昨天的比赛呢，我们可以看到，无论是在 GT4 组别还是 GT3 和 C1 的组别当中，都呈现出非常激烈的画面啊。那能跟我们分享一下整个赛季在马来西亚开赛是不是一个非常好的势头？
其实我们觉得昨天的GT4和 GT3 的决赛都非常的精彩，也是China GT有史以来 GT3 车型参赛最多的一次比赛。 那么昨天呢，我们完成了2019赛季的第1回合的一个首秀，今天即将开始我们的第2回合。总的来讲，我们觉得选择马来西亚的雪邦作为我们2019赛季的首秀是一个非常完美的一个选择。对。
非常感谢谢总。So, Mr. Xie Tian just mentioned about actually yesterday we have the first round of the whole new season, and we see the most entries so far for the past 4 seasons for China GT in GT3 category, and also we see so many new teams and new drivers. They give us unbelievable performance during the past several days. So we're looking forward to a very good season. 非常感谢谢天先生。那接下来的时间呢，转回到我们的解说间，我们的解说员呢将会为大家带来更多的关于我们的比赛信息。Cross back to your guys upstairs.
Thank you, Sophie. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sepang, Malaysia, for round 2 of the 2019 China GT Championship. Some fantastic racing yesterday in round 1 in the GT4 category, which we will have round 2 of just now. And then later in the afternoon, we'll have the second round of the combined GT3 and GTC grid. You can see 10 minutes to go, the board being held up in the middle there. And let's cross back down to Sophie, and she's back there on the grid.
在我身旁的呢，就是从杆位发车的6号车组其中一位车手王日升。那其实因为今年的比赛新的规定呢，就是第一回合的这个发车的人不能是第2回合的发车人，所以你今天可以跟我们在这儿进行一个交流，跟我们分享一下在昨天您发车的时候的经验，有没有传授一些给小乐呢？
其实小乐的经验比我更丰富，所以但是我也是有告诉他昨天我们的赛车跟其他的赛车起步的时候有什么速度上的差距，所以他应该很有把握。而且他今天是从杆位发车，虽然我们的车比昨天重了35公斤，而且现在的天气也比昨天热了不少，估计今天呢这个比赛会更加激烈，因为发车的车手有不少也是Pro Driver， 所以他们的速度也相当接近的。
非常感谢 Thanks Sunny. Sunny just mentioned about actually he communicated with Xiaole yesterday about how to start the car because he started the first race. At the same time, because they carry extra 35 kg in their car, so it's definitely lots of weight to carry. But at the same time, because there are so many professional drivers going to start the race for GT4 category, so it's challenge for 小乐 as well. 那非常感谢王日升，也希望刚刚来到我们的镜头里边的小乐能够发车顺序。那接下来的时间呢，就转回到我们的解说间 ，cross back to our guys.
Well, interesting to hear from Sunny Wong there, and he and his teammate He Xiaole starting from pole position for today's round 2. The grid today being decided by the results of the second qualifying session, 2 separate qualifying sessions for round 1 and round 2. And there we are, that is the number 6 car of He Xiaole and Sunny Wong sitting pretty on pole position. The AMG Mercedes GT4. 4 of them in this race today. And there we are, that's in second position, the number 87 KTM Crossbow, the Extreme Motorsports car of Liu Kai and Wei Tianyi. Getting ready to start the race there. Very hot, you can see the umbrella there, just keeping things cool. And in third place, that is the number 5 Phantom Pro Racing car of Alex Fontana and Chris Chia. That car won yesterday's race after a clever strategy that saw Alex Fontana, the pro driver, starting the race. We often see in the pro-am driver pairings that the pro driver goes second, but as it was, Alex Fontana pulled out a big lead that they were able to finish first. In fourth on the grid, number 22, that is the D2 racing car of Will Bamber and Liao Yang. In fifth position, the number 51 car, the FIS Team AAI BMW M4, driven by Oscar Lee and Yunhao Yao. That car, unfortunately, had some problems in yesterday's race, had to pull out fairly early on, so Oscar Lee, Yunhao Yao will be hoping for a better showing today. In sixth place, that is the Ginetta, the number 55, driven by Kenny Chung and Senan Fielding. That car was on pole position for yesterday's race, but could only finish third. Seventh on the grid, the 618 Aston Martin, driven by Yves Volt and Stanley Yang, the Asia Sonic Racing Team car. Next up, in seventh place, it's car number 8, driven by Mitch Gilbert and Xu Jia. Both drivers driving in the GT4 and also the GT3 categories, so a busy weekend for Mitch Gilbert and Xu Jia. Next up, it's number 3, another of the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes AMG GT4 cars, and that is driven by Yang Shi and Yan Chuang. And in 10th position on the grid, the second Asia Sonic Racing Team, the number 619 Aston Martin, driven by Wu Pei and Zhang Fan Xuan. Next up, in 11th place on the grid, we have the number 98 Top Gun GT Lotus Evora, the first of the Lotuses, driven by the Hong Kong duo of Robert Webb and Eric Wong. Next up, in 12th place, it's the number 10, the 69 Racing Team Porsche, driven by Simon Chan and Jeffrey Z. And finally, bringing up the rear in 13th place, the number 12 Lotus, the second Lotus on the grid, driven by Anthony Chan and Dominic Ang. Those last two cars on the grid having some problems earlier in the weekend, but very good to see them on the grid today. 13 cars in this GT4 category and 34 cars in total across the three categories, GT3, GTC and GT4. So fantastic to see so many cars on the grid here at Sepang for the first two rounds of the 2019 China GT Championship. This, of course, the first time that the China GT Championship has taken in a race outside China, and what a fantastic facility it is here, this Sepang International Circuit. 5.543 kilometers long, 15 turns, and a real driver's track, something for everything, for everybody here. Lots of long straights, lots of tight hairpins, and lots of long twisting turns. A real test for both driver and car. Plenty of overtaking opportunities. We saw some fantastic racing yesterday in both the GT4 and the combined GT3 GTC categories. You can see there the 3-minute board in the center of your screen. Everybody just making final preparations. Mechanics, engineers, and everybody else beginning to move away off back to the pit lane before the real action begins. Plenty of motor racing here at Sepang this weekend. Also doubles up as the Asia GT Festival. We saw some of the local Malaysian cars driving around earlier. And of course, a very special visit by none other than the Prime Minister of Malaysia himself. But right now, it's all about the GT4 category in the China GT Championship for round 2 of the new 2019 season. Everybody getting off the grid now. Soon it'll just be car and driver for 1 hour around this Sepang International Circuit. It's very hot out there today. Some of the drivers yesterday talking about how the heat was affecting their ability to perform and affecting the car's performance. Hopefully we'll have another good, clean race today. Lots of close racing. And you see there on the left-hand side of your picture, the number 6 Mercedes AMG, starting from pole position. Lovely to see lots of people here. Nice full grandstands here at Sepang on this lovely Sunday afternoon. There you see the pole position car, the number 6 Mercedes on the left. On your right, that's the number 87 KTM with that very distinctive hood. There's no doors on the KTM, so the drivers get in and out by opening the hood like that in that sort of gull-wing design. 1 minute to go. There goes the 1-minute board, and we'll be underway at Sepang very soon indeed. Final preparations just being made there. Everybody off the grid now. And then once the race director is satisfied that we're ready to go, there'll be one lap, a formation lap led by, you see that Neo there, the electric car, that will take the cars round. That acts as the pace car for 1 lap. The cars will go through all the necessary procedures, warming the tires, warming the brakes, and just making sure everything is as it should be. There you see the pace car just setting off. And the rest of the cars will follow very shortly behind. We'll have one formation lap behind the pace car. Then the pace car will pull into the pit lane that you can see just at the top of your picture there, peeling off to the left-hand side. And it's a rolling start in the China GT Championship, so the cars will form up 2 by 2 as they go across the finish line. And then those lights that you see, they're green at the moment, and now they've just turned red again. When the cars come round, those red lights, if the race director is satisfied that the cars are all next to one another in an orderly fashion, those lights will turn green, and we will be racing here. And round 2 of the GT4 category of the 2019 China GT Championship will be underway. Here you see the cars going through the first turn, and this formation lap, when the cars are going at a reduced speed, is a good opportunity to take in some of the very unique features of this Sepang International Circuit. The first sequence of corners, a very tight turn 1, a right-hander, followed immediately by a very tight left-hander that goes downhill rather sharply. Very tricky to get that right, very difficult for the drivers to see exactly where they ought to be positioning their car. It's a blind corner, you can't necessarily see the apex. There you see the drivers just coming out of turn 4. That's a tight right-hander. We saw lots of overtaking opportunities there yesterday before coming onto this back section of the track. A long sweeping left-hander at turn 5, which seems to go on for absolutely forever, before immediately turning into a sweeping right-hander at turn 6. You see the cars just negotiating. Turn 6, the right-hander. Then it's a double right-hander at turn 7 and turn 8. A short burst of acceleration. Not really much of an overtaking opportunity between turns 4 and turn 8, but nevertheless a very good test for driver and car. The sign of a good, well set up car is often how well it can carry the speed through these medium to high speed corners. And a real test for the car, this Sepang International Circuit. There you see them just going through this very twisty section at the back of the circuit. The pace car just leading them through. And this is the long right-hander at turn 14. And it's very, very important to get a good exit out of turn 14. Here we are riding on board with the number 22 car, driven by Will Bamba and Liao Yang. A very good shot there. Hopefully we'll get to see some more of that as the race goes on. This long back straight here, a very good overtaking opportunity. As I was saying, very important to get a very good exit out of turn 14. That last corner there, because very bad exit will compromise you on this straight very badly indeed. Before braking hard now to the last corner of the track, turn 15, this tight left-hander. You'll see the pace car just peeling off into the pit lane now. Then the cars will line up 2 by 2. Still rolling, of course. It's a rolling start here. And those red lights, once they go green, we will be racing here at Sepang. And it's green, and it's a good start already from the Mercedes on the left-hand side, the number 6. It looks as if the KTM crossbow on the right has been crowded out somewhat. The BMW, the BMW coming up on the outside, the 51 car. But as they go through the first corner, it's the number 6 Mercedes in the lead. The 51 BMW there as well. Very tight as they go through, and it looks as if the number 22 FIS team Mercedes is through up into second position. So the number 6 car of He Xiaole and Sunny Wong still in the lead. The number 22 Mercedes in second place. One of the Aston Martins is well up from 7th on the grid now into 3rd place. The Ginetta, number 55, in 4th position. So the KTM, a little bit of rallycross there from the Ginetta, but the KTM, you can see just in the back of your picture, really losing out there. Losing several positions as they went through turns 1 and 2. But as they come through this complex, it's the number 6 Mercedes in the lead. The 22 in second position, you see there. The Ginetta, the number 55, in 3rd position, with just over 1 minute having elapsed. So the number 6 Mercedes there consolidating the lead. The Ginetta, the number 55 car, really pushing the number 22 Mercedes. The D2 Mercedes there as they come through this final twisty section of the track. The 618 Aston Martin well up from 7th on the grid. That's in 4th place as the D2 Mercedes goes a little wide there. But the Ginetta, the number 55, not quite close enough to take advantage. But look, you can see the Ginetta, and that is, here we are riding on board with the number 22. And that is the race leader, the number 6 Mercedes that you can see just in front of you there. And as we speak, well, we didn't quite see it, but the number 22 losing out to the Ginetta there, driven by the British GT driver, Senan Fielding, the Ginetta development driver. He knows that car very well indeed, but the 22 Mercedes not giving up, going to the outside. There's lots of room to go side by side, as you can see there, but Senan Fielding just holding on to that second place there. So Senan Fielding started in 6th place, up into second position now, and now charging hard, pushing the number 6 Mercedes, which is still holding on to the lead there as they go through to start lap 2. The number 6 Mercedes in the lead, Senan Fielding in the 55 Ginetta in second place, and then the number 22 Mercedes that we're riding on board with now. You get a wonderful impression of the driver's eye view there. You can hardly see the track at all. It always looks very easy when you're looking down from above, from the cameras at the side like we are now, but inside the cockpit, when they're going at that sort of speed, it's a very different kettle of fish entirely. As they come through turn 4, the number 6 Mercedes still in the lead, Senan Fielding in second place, the number 55. And the top 3 in your picture there just starting to pull out slightly from the rest of the field. There we are, the number 22 car, piloted by Will Bamber and Liao Yang in third place. Senan Fielding really going for it now, all over the back of the number 6 Mercedes, looking to pressurize that car into a mistake. You can see he's right up on the exhaust now. I wonder if he'll fancy a little look, and a puff of smoke there from the Mercedes, perhaps locking the rear brakes there. You can see the car just dipping down as they brake hard down into the left-hander at turn 9. Senan Fielding going to the outside, but not enough room to get by there. Very hard to pass in this back section of the track as they go through the double right-hander at turns 10 and 11, and Senan Fielding has got through. Senan Fielding through into the lead. The number 55 Mercedes down into second and being challenged now by the 22 FIS team Mercedes, the D2 Mercedes, excuse me, and the number 22 Mercedes is up into second position. We're on board now. So, up into second position now, chasing down Senan Fielding in that Ginetta. Senan Fielding, a very experienced driver. He knows that car very well. Started in 6th position, and now, with 5 minutes of the race having elapsed, up into the lead. So he will be looking to establish as much of a lead as possible before he then hands over to his teammate Kenny Chung for the second portion of the race. As they come down to start lap 2, Senan Fielding, unsurprisingly, a fastest lap of the race so far, 2 minutes 15.9. Followed by Will Bamber in the number 22 Mercedes. And then the number 6 Mercedes now down into third position. Here we see some of the cars a bit further down. That is the number 5 Mercedes, and the KTM, the number 87 car, started on the front row, down into 6th place at the moment, and followed by the 51 FIS team BMW, that car that had a very unfortunate race yesterday, having to pull off with a mechanical failure just a few minutes in. And that car and its drivers, Oscar Lee and Yun Hao Yao, will want to put up a better showing, and challenging the KTM now as they go through turn 4, but not quite close enough to get that move done. The KTM tends to be very quick in the corners. It's a very light car, not such a good top-end speed. And the BMW, as we saw earlier in yesterday's racing, perhaps not quite so quick in the corners, but lightning quick on the straights. Very good high-end speed. As we look at the 618 Aston Martin there, driven by Yves Volt and Stanley Yang, currently in 4th place, having started 7th on the grid. And all 13 runners still in the race, which is very good to see. Sometimes at the beginning of a championship, it's all a little bit unknown. A few cars have teething problems. We saw evidence of that yesterday, but so far, looks to be going well. You see the number 12 car there. That is the Lotus, driven by Dominic Ang and Anthony Chan. But now back with your leaders. Number 55, Senan Fielding in the Ginetta. 0.8 seconds ahead of Will Bamber in the number 22 Mercedes. He's closely followed by the number 6 Mercedes in third position. Further down the field, some good racing here. The BMW challenging the Mercedes, going up the inside, 3 abreast. The KTM there as well. And the BMW looked as if slightly boxed in and then running a little bit wide there. So the 51 BMW losing a bit of time, but no major harm done. Now let's see if the Mercedes, the number 5 car that you see there, or indeed the BMW just going side by side there, I wonder if they could catch up with the KTM here, because the KTM not so quick on the straights. You see the BMW now, look how much ground it gained as they went through the start-finish straight, a bit of wheel banging, and the BMW goes through, and so does the Mercedes. So the KTM losing 2 positions there, and you could see visually how much time the KTM was losing on the straight. It's very good in the corners in this tight, twisty section of the track. You can see the KTM there fighting back now as they go through the turns, but the BMW and the Mercedes with a higher top-end speed, and that really did for the KTM, which is now down in 7th position, losing 2 places very quickly. You can see the track map there, the bottom right of your screen. The Mercedes just kicking up a bit of dirt as they go through now into this turn 5-6 complex, and look how much closer the KTM gets in this twisty section of the track. The KTM much better through the corners, going alongside as they come through to turn 7 and 8, but I think the Mercedes just has the legs. It's very difficult to overtake there. There's not a huge amount of braking going on. A short straight now as they come up to turn 9. This is good racing further down the field. This, the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th places between 3 different types of car as well. Great to see such variety in this GT4 field. Aston Martin, Mercedes, BMW, Ginetta, KTM, Porsche, Aston Martin and Lotus all being represented in this field. And as you can see from the last couple of minutes of racing that we've had, different cars have very different characteristics, which makes for very interesting racing. The KTM getting very close in this twisty back section of the track and looking up the inside as they go into turn 14, but not quite close enough. The Mercedes running a little wide and the KTM going through. But I wonder if the Mercedes might have enough top-end speed to take the KTM. You can see going defensive there, the yellow and black car on your right-hand side. But it looks as if the KTM might have held it. So that car back up into 6th position. The Mercedes having a look up the inside, but not quite close enough. You can see the car dipping as the weight gets thrown to the front of the car under braking. But the KTM up back into 6th position now, so managing to gain another place. But here comes Mercedes again, the number 5 car getting closer and closer as they come up to the first corner. The KTM going defensive as they go into the right-hander. The Mercedes just a little bit too far behind, I think, and the KTM very good in this tight, twisty section. It should be very difficult to pass that car in turns 1 and 2. Number 5 Mercedes still down in 7th position. Further down the field, some good racing here. That's the 619 Aston Martin being challenged by the number 10 Porsche. Good to see close racing all the way up and down the field. That's the battle for 11th place, those 2 cars now, as they come through up to the right-hander at turn 4. You can see your track map on the bottom right, where all the cars are. A very good, useful little graphic there. You can see a clump of cars there going through the turn 5-6 complex. Those 4 going line astern, very close. But we're looking now at the number 55 car. That is the Ginetta, driven by Senan Fielding. Now 2 seconds ahead of the 22 D2 Mercedes, driven by Will Bamber. As they come through, Will Bamber using all of the road and a little bit more there. He wants to be careful that he doesn't do that too often, otherwise he might find he gets his collar felt by the stewards, who take a dim view of the car leaving the racetrack in that manner with all 4 wheels past the white line. But Will Bamber clearly very committed early on in this race, in 2nd position now, chasing down Senan Fielding. There you see the gap, just under 2 seconds between 1st and 2nd, as Senan Fielding goes through your picture now. Will Bamber there in 2nd, and in 3rd place there we're looking at the number 6 car, piloted by He Xiaole and Sunny Wang. Now beginning another lap of this Sepang International Circuit. Senan Fielding still in the lead, Will Bamber still in 2nd place. The number 6 Mercedes still in 3rd, a little bit of a gap then before the 618 Aston Martin. Then we see the KTM and the BMW, which was ahead of the KTM, now you see in the back of your picture. So we didn't see what happened there, but the KTM, the number 87 car, up into 5th position. In 6th place is the number 5 Mercedes. In 7th place, the number 7 Aston Martin. And the FIS team BMW, which had been up in 5th place, we saw it overtake the Mercedes and the KTM down into 9th position now. So that number 51 FIS team BMW had some problems in yesterday's race, unfortunately had to pull out of the race early, and I hope for the FIS team's sake that they're not having problems again, because very unusual for that car to drop so many places. There you see the number 51 car just going through your picture now, just in 9th place ahead of the number 12 Lotus, and doesn't seem to be going too slowly, doesn't seem to be cruising in. So we didn't see what happened there, but there you go. There's the number 87 KTM Crossbow jumping over those curbs in 5th position, some 10 seconds behind the 4th place car. That is the 618 Aston Martin of Yves Volt and Stanley Yang. But the number 87 KTM, very good in this tight, twisty section. That short wheelbase really helps it through these corners. This, the double right-hander at 7 and 8. Now onto this tight, twisty infield section. The KTM really should be in its element. Very good around the corners. As we approach 1/4 distance now, 46.5 minutes to go as the KTM rounds turn 14 and enters the long back straight. Not such a high top speed on this KTM, but the car with a bit of a lead over the 6th place car, the number 5 Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes. As the 87 car rounds that last left-hand hairpin. So some lovely shots there. You get a good close-up view of some of the more interesting detail on that number 87 KTM. A very strikingly designed car. No doors, of course, just with that gull-wing windshield that pops open, allows the driver to come in. There at the back of your picture, you see the BMW there, going alongside the number 3 Mercedes, and taking, does he? It looks as if the BMW just has the legs. Yes, he does, and the BMW, the number 51 car, up into 8th position now. So the FIS team AAI BMW looking to make up for the time lost in that last lap, when they dropped from 5th to 9th place. That BMW with a very good turn of speed, very good on the straights. And now chasing down the Kings Racing Aston Martin, the number 7 car there, driven by Mitch Gilbert and Xu Jia this weekend. 45 minutes to go here in this GT4 category for round 2 of the 2019 China GT Championship. And we're looking at the battle for 7th place between the number 7 Kings Racing Aston Martin, the number 51 FIS team BMW, and just behind, in 9th position, is the number 3 car. That is the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes. There are 3 Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes in this race today. The first of which is currently in 3rd position, the number 6 car, driven by He Xiaole and Sunny Wang. The second car in 6th place, driven by Alex Fontana and Chris Chia. And then the third of those trio, the number 3 car, currently in 8th position. That car this weekend driven by Yang Shi and Yan Chuang, the Chinese duo. As we look at the number 51 car, the FIS team BMW, beg your pardon, the FIS team BMW, partnered by Oscar Lee and Yunhao Yao. These 3 cars now coming on this long back straight. I wonder if the BMW might be close enough for a quick look. Maybe not, but with a good exit out of this turn 15 left-hand hairpin, perhaps could attack the Aston Martin. We know how fast that BMW is on these long straights. Number 7 Aston Martin going to the left-hand side of the track as he looks at it, taking the racing line. The BMW closing up and taking, no. I wondered if he might go for a look up the inside, and a little bit of weaving there from the number 7 Aston Martin, perhaps just trying to put the BMW off. It's very difficult to drive quickly and keep one eye on your mirrors when you have a car like the 51 BMW swarming all over the back of you in your rear view mirrors. And that BMW will be looking to pressurize the number 7 Aston into a mistake. The Aston Martin going defensive as they go through turn 4. And I wonder if that might compromise his exit, going very deep into the corner there. But living to fight another day, still in 7th place. The 51 BMW still in 8th position. And the number 9 Mercedes, the number 3 Mercedes, excuse me, in 9th position. just lurking in the background, maintaining a watching brief and perhaps looking to take advantage if these two end up squabbling a little too closely. We saw yesterday some very opportunistic driving and a little puff of smoke there from the Aston Martin. You can see how hard these drivers are pushing at this stage of the race. We're just approaching 1/3 distance, and that means that the pit window is going to be opening fairly shortly. You can see 42 minutes to go in this race. When that clock ticks down to 35 minutes, the pit window opens, and that pit window will be open for 10 minutes. The drivers have to come in, take their mandatory pit stop during that 10-minute pit window, and then swap over to their other drivers. As these three now racing line astern, very closely racing as they go through the back section of this track. This, of course, the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th position as they round turn 10. The BMW taking a slightly wider line there. We've seen lots of different lines being taken this weekend at various corners, and it looked to me as if the BMW's got the legs here on the Aston Martin, which goes defensive to the inside of the track. But the BMW, we know how fast it is in a straight line as they brake hard, going side by side, not quite close enough, but the Aston Martin runs wide. The BMW went slightly wider into the corner, going slower in to get a faster exit, and that has really paid dividends. The BMW back now into 7th place, and look already at the gap that the BMW pulls out. We know how fast it is on the straight. The Aston Martin clearly not with as much top-end speed, and good racing further down the field as well. The 619 Aston Martin and the number 10 Porsche going side by side. That is the battle for 11th place. Great to see such close racing all the way up and down the grid here at the Sepang International Circuit. Up into 10th place now, the Porsche driven by Simon Chan and Jeffrey Z. And now, we haven't seen him for a while, but there is your race leader, Senan Fielding, in the 55 Ginetta. 3.2 seconds ahead now of Will Bamber in the number 22 D2 Racing Mercedes. Senan Fielding started in 6th position, very quickly made his way up to the front. And I should think that Senan Fielding, when the pit window opens with 35 minutes of the race to go, that pit window is open for 10 minutes, and I should think that Senan Fielding and indeed Will Bamber will be racing quite a long way into that pit window, and they will go as far into the pit window as possible before they come in for their mandatory pit stops. What we often see when you have a Pro-Am driver pairing, one Pro driver and one Am driver, the Pro driver, obviously doing this professionally for a living, the more experienced driver and, in theory, the faster driver. So when you have to swap over halfway through the race, naturally you want your faster driver to be driving the larger portion of the race. So if Senan Fielding and Will Bamber come in with only 25 minutes of the race to go, then they will have driven 35 minutes, and their amateur teammates, who in theory would be the slower drivers, will only be driving for 25 minutes. Interesting to see some of the Pro drivers starting the race this weekend. We often see when there's a Pro-Am driver pairing that the Pro driver tends to take the second portion of the race and catching up to the rest, as the number 6 car in 3rd position there, just kicking up a little bit of dust. But as it is, the Pro drivers, Senan Fielding and Will Bamber, starting this race, and they will hand over to Kenny Chung and Liao Yan respectively for the second portion of this race. 38 minutes to go. The pit window will be open in just about 3.5 minutes time. As we look at the number 6 Mercedes of He Xiaole and Sunny Wang, currently in 3rd position. A little bit further back now, 5.9 seconds off 2nd place. Will Bamber in the 22 Mercedes, there you just saw going through in your picture, but 11 seconds ahead of the 618 Aston Martin. So the number 6 Mercedes, the first of the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes in the GT4 category, driving a very solid race in 3rd place at the moment. As we look now back again at the battle for 11th place between the 619 Aston Martin and the number 10 Porsche, driven by Simon Chan and Jeffrey Z. That car having some problems earlier on in the weekend. We haven't seen too much of it, but still racing today. Very pleased to see All 13 entrants in the GT4 category starting the race and indeed still running in the race today. So reliability clearly going very well today for the GT4 racers. There is the 619 Aston Martin, driven by Zhang Fangshuang and Wu Pei. As we look back now at the leading trio, Sen and Fielding, there, your race leader, just braking hard in the 55 Ginetta, going through the first corner now. Will Bamber in second place in the number 22 D2 Mercedes, and a little bit further back, but still very much in the hunt, the number 6 car of He Xiaole and Sunny Wong, the first of the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes. Then you've got in fourth place the 618 Aston Martin, that is driven by Yves Volt and Stanley Yang this weekend. In fifth place, the 87 KTM Crossbow was involved in a few scrapes and some very good close racing earlier on with the FIS team BMW and the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes, but the 87 KTM very much consolidating its fifth place now. Started second on the grid. That car driven by Liu Kai and Wei Tianyi. Wei Tianyi made his China GT debut in yesterday's race, and a very solid performance it was from the first-time China GT driver, Wei Tianyi. That car just going through turn 4 now. 36 minutes to go. 1 minute until the pit window opens. And it'll be interesting to see the combination of cars and drivers that decide to come in just as the pit window opens. I said before, I think that Sen and Fielding and Will Bamber will stay out quite a way into the pit window and come in closer towards the end of it, as we look at the number 12 Lotus, driven by Dominic Ang and Anthony Chan. That car currently in 10th position. Another car that had some problems earlier on this weekend, but again, very good to see that car starting the race on the grid and still racing almost half an hour into the race. 35 minutes to go, 25 minutes gone. Pit window will be open imminently. As we look at the number 98, the second Lotus in the race, in 13th position, bringing up the rear, but still very much in the race. No retirements yet, which is very pleasing to see. Robert Webb and Eric Wong driving that car. Going through this twisty back section of the track. And here in 6th position, the number 5 Mercedes, driven by Chris Chia and Alex Fontana, the Swiss driver. That car winning the race yesterday and coming into the pits. So the pit window is open now, and the first car we've seen come in is the number 5, Chris Chia and Alex Fontana. Pit lane speed limit, of course, very important that there's no speeding in the pit lane. Potentially very dangerous scenario. And you see the cars trundling down. It feels like an eternity going down the pit lane with that pit lane speed limit on. You see the mechanics, and it looks as if they're going for a change of tyres. Now that's interesting. We don't often see tyres being changed in these mandatory pit stops. Usually it's enough for the tyres to last for one race distance, but there we are. It is very hot here in Malaysia. I wonder if the number 5 Mercedes struggling a little bit with some blistering there. And I wonder if we might see some other cars change tyres. It's unusual to see a tyre change in the China GT Championship, but there we are as the mechanics go to work, and that car is obliged to be stationary for 78 seconds. These cars all have a mandatory pit stop time that they have to abide by, and that is decreed by the categorization of the drivers. So Alex Fontana, the professional driver from Switzerland, and Chris Chia, they are obliged to stop for 78 seconds. Some of the other combinations on the grid, for example, the AM driver pairing of Simon Chan and Jeffrey Z in the number 10 Porsche, they will only have to stop for 56 seconds. So the higher rating that the driver pairing has, the longer that car has to stop in the pit lane. So a useful little mechanism there to help level out the playing field if there's a perceived strength or weakness in the quality of the drivers up and down the grid. But there we are, looking at Senan Fielding, as I suspected, not come into the pit lane just yet. I should think he'll be going for another couple of laps before he comes in to change over to Kenny Chung. Senan Fielding still holding the fastest lap of the race. 2 minutes, 14 seconds, 0.543. Will Bamba still in second place. And the number 7 car just behind. I should think that number 7 car is 1 lap down, having pitted, because I very much doubt whether the car would have closed up that quickly to Senan Fielding and Will Bamba, who is setting quite a searing pace at the front here. Senan Fielding, the number 55 Ginetta, going through turn 7 now. Still very much in the lead, 3.2 seconds ahead, as we see the 15 BMW, the 51 coming in, the number 3 Mercedes coming in. So it's all happening now. This pit window 10 minutes long, of course, and so you often see a great variety in terms of when exactly the cars come in. They don't all come in on the same lap. It can often take a few minutes just for the timings to sort themselves out, just while we work out exactly who's been in the pits and who hasn't. But then after everyone's stopped on, well, it should be with about 25 minutes to go, then everything becomes clearer again. And then it's a 25-minute sprint to the finish. You can see the mechanics there, the FIS team mechanics, just checking everything's shipshape and ready to go, and that car sets off again. No tyres being changed on the BMW or indeed the Mercedes behind. So electing not to change tyres, obviously quite happy with the current state of the rubber that they have. Clearly the first Mercedes that came in thought differently, decided to change tyres. There we are, the FIS team car rounding the first corner, the number 3 Mercedes leaving the pit lane now, and there we are, Senan Fielding and Will Bamba still first and second, still haven't stopped. Senan Fielding going through the first corner now. And another interesting aspect when we get to this stage in the race is that the leading cars start to catch up with some of the back markers, and then we'll have to lap them. And if we get a situation where one of the lapped cars inadvertently or otherwise holds up the race leader, that can actually play into the hands of the cars behind. So if Senan Fielding is held up by some of the cars he's trying to lap, and we hope that that's not the case, we hope that, of course, that the drivers will look in their mirrors and be very wary of the fact that the leaders are coming to lap them, but sometimes it's unavoidable. If the leader comes across you at an awkward place on the track, it's unavoidable to perhaps hold him up for a corner or two, and I should think Will Bamba will be looking for that sort of an opportunity. But as I say that, Senan Fielding going through there, passing one of the back markers, who very graciously lets him by. There we see the number 98 Lotus coming out. That is the car piloted by Robert Webb and Eric Wong. Still some close racing further down the field. That's the 619 Aston Martin and the number 10 Porsche. They've been at it all race long, battling for the lower positions, but still no shortage of commitment further down the field as they come through the start-finish line to start another lap here at the Sepang International Circuit. 29 minutes to go. We're just over half distance now. And still waiting for Senan Fielding and Will Bamba to take their pit stops. Onto the back straight now, the number 51 FIS team BMW down in 8th place at the moment, but that may very well change. You see the blue flags there to the left of your picture being waved, and that is to the number 3 Mercedes, the back marker, to let him know that one of the race leaders is coming through to lap him and that he should get out of the way. And thankfully he does that as Senan Fielding comes into the pits and going very wide, clearly pushing very hard. Senan Fielding looking to make up as much time as he possibly can before he hands over that car to Kenny Chung for the latter half of this race. So Senan Fielding coming in now, and Will Bamba still staying out. So Will Bamba in the 22 D2 Racing Mercedes still staying out one more lap. The pit window will be closed shortly, so I should think that Will Bamba will be in at the end of this lap. Senan Fielding gets out and Kenny Chung gets in. to that Ginetta G55 GT4 car. And that car will be stationary for 76 seconds. Senan Fielding and Kenny Chung. That car had been leading the race, and we'll see once everybody's taken their pit stops, once Will Bamber comes in. And you can see the KTM, the number 87, also coming in with that windshield, very striking design there. The gull wing windshield, that's how the drivers get in and out. No doors on that KTM crossbow. And the mechanics there looking like they're just checking the tyre pressures. No tyres being changed on that car. We haven't seen any tyres being changed apart from on the first Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes that came into the pits, as Kenny Chung comes out now for his stint to finish this GT4 race here, round 2 of the 2019 China GT Championship here at the Sepang International Circuit. Kenny Chung coming through into the foreground there. That was the 98 Lotus, still bringing up the rear, the Top Gun GT car. As Kenny Chung comes round turn 4. And he'll just want to get a feel for the car, I would think, for these first few corners. Don't want to go too hard and spin off or run into some sort of mishap. Kenny Chung still not much in the way of traffic, either in front or behind him. A nice clear track for Kenny Chung to run into. And that should help him as Will Bamber finally comes into the pits. So Will Bamber now coming into the pit lane, and he will hand over to Liao Yang, who will finish the race in that number 22 D2 Mercedes. He comes to his block there, just knocks the sign over. I shouldn't think that'll cause him too much difficulty. Will Bamber gets out of the car, throws his seat all the way over there. These seats are molded to each driver's individual bodies, so very important to have your own seat with you. And Will Bamber just helping his teammate there strap himself in. There's a lot to go through. You've got to get the seat out, get the new seat in, and get strapped in that 5-point harness. And that car will be stationary for 78 seconds as we see the 618 Aston Martin coming in as well. And in the background, that's one of the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes. And Kenny Chung there. Let's go down to the pit lane now with Sophie.
好的，在我身旁的是55号车组的 Senna Fielding， 那他们是从6位发车，现在呢已经到第1位了。Senna starting from 6th place while now leading the race with extra 25 kg in your car. How does that feel?
Yeah, definitely with the extra 25 kilos today, and especially with this heat. The race yesterday was a little bit earlier on in the day, so a couple of hours has made a huge difference to the track temperature, and you can really feel the tyres starting to go off. But fortunately, the Ginetta looks after its tyres really well. And I was trying to build a big enough lead, but also hand the car over to Kenny with still some rubber on the tyres where it's going to benefit him.
Good luck for you as well as for Kenny as well. 那其实刚刚现在跟我们也说了一下，今天呢车上有25公斤的额外负重，对他来说确实是挺重的。而且今天因为我们比赛时间是在11点40，比昨天呢要晚2个小时。那么今天这个赛道上的温度是非常热的，对于他来说呢，他觉得能够保持住这个成绩，现在呢也希望 Kenny 能发挥不错。Thank you so much one more time, Senna, and cross back to you guys. 转回到我们的解说间。
Well, interesting to hear Senan Fielding talking about the effect that the weather is having on the tyres, and talking also about the need to push hard to establish a lead, but also not push too hard and wear out the tyres, so that Kenny Chung, who you see there driving now, has enough rubber to finish the race. Of course, when you're driving in GT racing like this, you've got to hand over your car to another driver. You can't just have the car set up for yourself. You have to make compromises so that both the drivers are equally happy with the setup. And of course, you don't want to push too hard in the first portion of the race and then ruin the car for your teammate in the second portion of the race. So a very different discipline, a very different driving style to single-seater racing. And we'll see car number 22 there, now driven by Liao Yang. And Sophie is down in the pit lane with Liao Yang's teammate, Will Bamber. Let's go and hear from him now.
身旁的22号车组的 Will Bamber 刚刚呢才完成了他的第一棒，而且现在赛车的位置好像是已经位居到第1位了。So well, finish your stint is definitely very important because we know so many professional drivers racing for the first part. How did you battle with the other drivers, especially we see there's so many fierce competition in the front?
Yeah, it was an awesome few laps here. I knew always the GT4 was going to be a lot of fun, a lot of cars, close battles and relatively lower speed, so a bit more like go-karting, which was really, really cool, close door to door, but it was all pretty clean between everybody. And then I think the top 3, we just started sitting out, attacking one another lap after lap, trying to keep it clean, but cars handling well. I can't thank the team enough for working their asses off the last few days to try and get the car better.
Thanks a lot, Will. Good luck for car number 22.
Thanks for everyone coming out as well.
Thank you so much. Will 呢也跟我们分享了一下，其实大家也可以看到前3的车辆呢一直在互相超，也看得出今天的这个比赛非常的激烈，因为之前呢都是一般是专业车手来跑第1棒，那也希望他的队友17岁的廖阳能发挥稳定，等会儿再领奖台见。那接下来时间呢就让我们转交回解说间 ，Cross back to you guys.
And the 619 Aston Martin there just going a little bit wide. As we look at the number 22 car driven by Liao Yang, now in the lead of the race. We heard from Liao Yang's teammate Will Bamber just now, talking about how hard his mechanics have been working to get that car ready to race. And apologies for some of the rather colourful description there that Will Bamber was using, but clearly his mechanics and engineers working very, very hard. And the whole team working hard now, and Liao Yang in first position after the dust has settled on the pit stops. So, Liao Yang in the number 22 car leading the race. Kenny Chung in the 55 Ginetta in second position now. 10 seconds behind Liao Yang's 22 car at the last count. And we'll see when the cars come over the finish line again. We'll see just how that gap has changed. But you can see visually in your picture there, Liao Yang in the 22 yellow and grey Mercedes in the lead. And no sign of Kenny Chung just yet. There you see in the back of your picture now the white and purple and blue car. That's Kenny Chung, and he has the whole length of the pit straight behind as one of the Aston Martins, the 619, pulls over to the side of the road. But Kenny Chung now challenging the number 6 car, which is in third position. Kenny Chung down into third position now, the number 6 Phantom Pro Racing car, as Kenny Chung runs a little wide there. That will have cost him a little bit of time. You see him kicking up a bit of dust as he goes through turn 15. The number 6 Mercedes of He Xiaole and Sunny Wong in second position now. So a good stint there, a good pit stop by the Phantom Pro Racing team. Kenny Chung and the Ginetta down into third place, with 2/3 of the race having elapsed. 40 minutes gone, 20 minutes to go now, and that is the second place car, the number 6 Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes. Some 12 seconds behind the number 22 D2 Mercedes, now driven by Liao Yang, leading the race. Still in second place as they go through turn 4. And I wonder if some of these cars which haven't changed their tyres, which as far as I'm aware is all but one of the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes cars, I wonder if they'll have to be very careful with tyre wear towards the end of the race. We heard from Senan Fielding about how much hotter it is today than in yesterday's race and how much of an effect that's having on the tyres, and how careful the drivers are having to drive just so that they don't go too hard. They don't want to overheat those tyres and wear them out and run the risk of locking up, creating flat spots on those tyres, which would make it very difficult for the cars to handle. 18.5 minutes to go here in the GT4 category of round 2 of the 2019 China GT Championship here at the Sepang International Circuit. You're looking at the number 10 Porsche, that is in 10th position, driven by Simon Chan and Jeffrey Z. 18 minutes to go as we look at the number 5 Mercedes, now driven by the Swiss driver Alex Fontana, and he and his teammate Chris Chia won this race yesterday after a clever strategy that saw Alex Fontana at the start of the race building up a very, very big lead. Enough of the lead for Chris Chia to step in and just stroke it home all the way to the end of the race. Will Bamba's teammate, Liao Yang, in the 22 D2 Racing Mercedes, still in the lead. His last lap, a 2:19.8, so a very solid lap time there. But the number 6 car, the Phantom Pro Racing car, driven by He Xiaole and Sunny Wang, catching up, 2 minutes 17.6 for that car. So the number 6 took out 2 seconds out of the 22 car, so 10 seconds, 10.2 seconds to be precise. Now the gap between first and second, and it'll be interesting to see if that car, the number 6 Mercedes, can keep up this sort of pace throughout the rest of the race, because catching the number 22 Mercedes at 2 seconds a lap, in theory, in 5 laps' time, he should be right on his gearbox. So Liao Yang, if he wants to win this race, he'll have to pick up the pace a little bit, because the number 6 Mercedes is the car in form at the moment. Catching up to first place and the 22 D2 Mercedes. There you see the number 6 car as the nose dips as they brake hard down to the left-hander. And let's go down to the pit lane and hear more from Sophie now.
好，身旁的6号车组的何小乐，像从杆位发车是你来做的这个圈。那说一下你从起跑一直经历的这一些，就是后方给你带来的挑战。
其实今天起跑还蛮顺利的。那么因为在1号弯我也看到很混乱，那头1、2圈我能带开一点。但是因为昨天我们的2台车获胜之后也都有不同的加重，那么今天我有35公斤的配重。所以在头几圈我也尽量的去 push 像排位赛的状态，但是只可以做到比昨天可能还要慢一点的时间。因为今天中午起跑可能比昨天会更热一些。但是其他我后面的2部赛车也是我的对手。很明显他们可以用到轮胎最好的那段性能，在头2圈可以很晚的去刹车。所以我跟他们也没有发生过多的拼抢。那么当然有防守的1、2个弯，但是能感受到他们的在圈速确实明显比我更快一些，所以我希望可以跟住他们。对，但是等我回来的时候还有大概10秒的差距跟前面的车。所以现在我的队友三逆他的圈速还是有一点优势的，目前他上到了第2位，所以要看看他是不是能够追到冠军。对。
好，非常感谢小乐。So Xiaole just mentioned about actually when they took on the car, it's a pretty good start. However, with extra 35 kg in the car, it's a lot of pressure. But at the same time, as you can see, the other 2 cars following him, push him really hard, and he's trying to defend it. And his teammate lots of advantage so far, and second place so far, and good luck. I can say 非常感谢小乐。那接下来时间转回交我们的解说间。Now it's your time, cross back to your guys.
Thank you, Sophie. And He Xiaole, I should think, would be very happy with how his teammate Sunny Wang is driving at the moment, because Sunny Wang now driving the number 6 car. His last lap, 2 minutes 17.0. And now this man, Liao Yang, that you see, the number 22 D2 Mercedes, a 2:19.7. So Sunny Wang taken 2.7 seconds a lap out of the 22 Mercedes just on that last lap alone. And at this current rate, he is going to catch him before the end of the race. So we should see a grandstand finish here between the 2 Mercedes drivers. It looks as if the battle for the lead is going to be between those 2. Kenny Chung in the number 55 Ginetta, a 2:23.2 in the last lap, so quite a bit slower. It looks as if Kenny Chung and the Ginetta will have to settle for 3rd place at best. And there you see Kenny Chung and being challenged by the 87 car, the KTM. Wei Tianyi now driving that car. But Kenny Chung down into 4th place now. In 3rd place, you see the number 5 Mercedes, driven by Alex Fontana. having overtaken Kenny Chung, so the Hong Kong driver down into 4th place and being closely followed now by the KTM Crossbow, the number 87 car. So, some interesting racing up and down the grid. It looks as if we'll have a grandstand finish here. Sonny Wong taken another 1.5 seconds out of the leader Liao Yang on that last lap. The gap between 1st and 2nd now down to just under 6 seconds. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen there, 5.961. Alex Fontana a further 12.5 seconds back, but he was very, very quick yesterday in the first half of the race. There you see on your screen there, 5.961 seconds, the gap at the last count between 1st and 2nd. There is your race leader, Liao Yang, but he's being harried all the way at the moment by Sonny Wong. And Alex Fontana has set his last lap of 2:17.2, so that's 0.5 seconds quicker even than Sonny Wong, who is setting a searing pace in 2nd place at the moment. And Liao Yang, I should think, in a few laps' time, will start to come under severe pressure from the likes of Sonny Wong. So we should see a grandstand finish here. Fantastic stuff in the GT4 category here, race 2 of the 2019 China GT Championship. We've already seen some great racing here at the Sepang International Circuit earlier this weekend, yesterday, as the number 6 car, Sonny Wong, getting a little bit out of shape there, but no major harm done. And you can see the gap now. That is 1st and 2nd in your picture now. So Sonny Wong really putting the hammer down, putting the pressure on Liao Yang, who brakes hard now and goes through, and that is the 619 Aston Martin, going very slowly indeed, driven by Wu Pei and Zhang Fanchuan. He's managed to get going again, but we saw that car have a few problems earlier in the race. Here is the battle for 4th place now. The KTM, the number 87 car, now ahead of Kenny Chung in the Ginetta. So poor old Kenny Chung down into 5th position now at 2 minutes 22.5, and that is some 5 or 6 seconds a lap slower than the leading pace at the moment. So we heard Kenny Chung's teammate Senan Fielding talking about how the heat is affecting the tyres, plus the 25 kilograms of success ballast that Ginetta now has, and perhaps that is affecting Kenny Chung's ability to drive quickly. 2:23.3 that last lap, and compare that with 2 minutes 16.5 the last lap by Alex Fontana in the number 5 Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes. So Kenny Chung off the pace a little bit now. The 619 Aston Martin there, you see, got going again, now being overtaken by the number 12 car. And the number 12 car just putting 1 lap on the 619 Aston Martin, which is currently bringing up the rear in 12th position. The number 12 car, driven by Dominic Ang, in 8th position. Good to see that car still running after some problems earlier this weekend, but the number 12 Top Gun GT Racing Lotus Evora GT4 still in the race with just under 10 minutes to go. Dominic Ang, the driver, of course, a Malaysian and very much a local favourite with the crowds here. And the gap at the front now, just 3.2 seconds between Liao Yang, the race leader in the 22 D2 Racing Mercedes, and Sonny Wong catching him hand over fist. He took 2.8 seconds out of Liao Yang on that last lap, and that means to say, and that visually is the gap now. He is right on the gearbox of Liao Yang. So Sonny Wong in 2nd place, pushing hard. He's caught up to the race leader Liao Yang as they come through the start-finish line to start another lap. You can see visually just how close the gap is now, 1.1 seconds now. Sonny Wong catching race leader Liao Yang with an average of about 2.5 to 3 seconds a lap over the fast few laps. A fantastic achievement from Sonny Wong. Fantastic racing, but as they say in motor racing, catching is one thing and passing is another thing entirely. And we'll see what Sonny Wong is made of now, whether he can get past Liao Yang, who I should think will now be driving very defensively indeed, taking the inside line not allowing Sunny Wong the chance to get by. They're approaching turn 4, but I don't think Sunny Wong close enough to look at overtaking just yet. Liao Yang still holding on. Sunny Wong in very close attendance behind him as they go through now the left-hander at turn 5. Before going to that right-hander at turn 6, Sunny Wong right behind Liao Yang. 7.5 minutes to go. Surely he's going to manage to overtake him before the end of the race as they come through the right-hander at turn 7. Sunny Wong maybe thinking about a move there, but it's very difficult to overtake at this part of the track. A quick burst of acceleration now before braking hard to the left-hander. Sunny Wong going to the outside, and is he going up the inside here? No, not quite close enough just yet. Liao Yang still ahead. Of course, these cars, both identical cars, so it's not like one car should have an advantage over one section of the track than the other. Very evenly matched. It's simply just driver on driver now. And we'll see exactly what Sunny Wong and Liao Yang are made of. A fantastic grandstand finish here to the GT4 Race 2 here in Sepang. Liao Yang still in the lead, the number 22 yellow and grey car. Sunny Wong closing inexorably up, 6.5 minutes to go. Liao Yang going a little wide there and Sunny Wong going up the inside. I wonder if Liao Yang lost a bit of time there, but they're going side by side now. Liao Yang going to the inside, Sunny Wong covering behind. I wonder if he's going to go to the inside now as Liao Yang to the outside. Sunny Wong goes for a move up the inside, and they're side by side as they come through the left-hander at the hairpin. Sunny Wong has just made it. Sunny Wong now into the lead of the GT4 race. Fantastic stuff from the Hong Kong driver. Liao Yang pushed down into second place, but back into the tow, perhaps looking to get into the slipstream. So Liao Yang not giving up yet. Sunny Wong going defensive. He knows he has to cover the inside line. Liao Yang going to the inside. Sunny Wong still in the inside, but I wonder if that might have compromised his exit. But again, very difficult to pass, and Sunny Wong looks to me as if he's just held that. Sunny Wong now taking the lead, but Liao Yang not giving up just yet. Looking for a look up the inside of turn 2 as they come around the long right-hander at turn 3. Sunny Wong in the lead, but Liao Yang giving chase. I don't think Liao Yang close enough for a move up the inside turn 4 here. Going very close, but not quite close enough. Sunny Wong with some very impressive pace in these last few laps to close the gap and catch and pass Liao Yang. Sunny Wong leading the race, 5 minutes to go, and starting to pull out a little bit of a gap now as they come around the right-hander at turn 6, into the double right-hander at turns 7 and 8. And I should think Sunny Wong might have done just enough to take the win now. Under 5 minutes to go. Liao Yang quite a bit slower than Sunny Wong in previous laps. Sunny Wong still in the lead, and let's have a little look at that again. Sunny Wong going up the inside, they go side by side. I wonder, do they make contact a little bit? I wonder if Sunny Wong, just the rear end of his car, perhaps stepped out and made contact with Liao Yang, or perhaps Liao Yang realized that he had to get out of that move, and they're coming through traffic now. Now this could be interesting. If Sunny Wong gets caught up in that traffic, that might give Liao Yang the opportunity he needs for a closer look. They're on the back straight now. Liao Yang into the slipstream of Sunny Wong. But I don't think Liao Yang close enough for a move. Perhaps just having a little look, but not really going for it there. Sunny Wong still in the lead as they go through the left-hander, the final hairpin. Just over 3.5 minutes to go in the race. Sunny Wong goes over the start-finish line to start another lap here in this GT4 race, the second of 2 GT4 races this weekend. Sunny Wong and Liao Yang still going at it, hammer and tongs. 0.85 seconds the gap as they went over the line. So Liao Yang still keeping Sunny Wong honest. He's not giving up just yet, not backing away as they come through this long right-hander at turn 3. Sunny Wong still in the lead. Liao Yang still in second place. Now hard braking down into the right-hander at turn 4. And looking at the track map on the bottom right, you can see car number 6 closely followed by car number 22. They're just going through the long left-hander at turn 5. to be followed by the long right-hander at turn 6. I don't think they will encounter any more back markers throughout the rest of this race. Just over 2.5 minutes to go, and you can see on your graphic there on the bottom right, no back markers ahead of the number 6 car. The nearest one is about half a lap up the road, and there's no way they'll catch that car before the end of the race. But Sunny Wong still in the lead. Liao Yang not giving up, still in second place. But fantastic racing from Sunny Wong, and indeed from his teammate He Xiaole to put Sunny Wong in that good position for the second portion of the race. Sunny Wong catching Liao Yang hand over fist to the tune of about 2.5 to 3 seconds a lap. Here we are looking a little bit further down the field, and that is in 5th place the Ginetta of Kenny Chung, under pressure from the 618 Aston Martin, which is going up the inside. So Kenny Chung in the Ginetta down to 6th place now, as the Aston Martin up into 5th place. That car driven by Stanley Yang, and some very close racing there. And the BMW, the FIS team BMW, the number 51 car now challenging. So Kenny Chung, if he's not careful, will find himself down into 7th position. The last lap there you see. So this is it. No more racing after this lap. And I think Stanley Yang, or Sunny Wong, excuse me, should have enough as we look again at the battle now for 6th place. Kenny Chung in the Ginetta being chased hard by Oscar Lee in the FIS team BMW. That car had a very short race yesterday, unfortunately with some mechanical failures, so good to see that car getting to the end of today's race. Oscar Lee having a little look, but not quite close enough to go up the inside as they go through the tight left-hander at turn 15 again. Kenny Chung still holding on to that 6th place, but I wonder if the BMW will have the legs as they go through the start-finish line to start the final lap. The 618 Aston Martin just up there again, and the BMW going to the inside. And again, we can see visually just how fast that BMW is. Has a much higher top speed, clearly, than the Ginetta. Kenny Chung, a sitting duck on the straight there, had no answer to the pace of the BMW. Perhaps not quite so quick in the corners, but much quicker on the straights. We often see good racing when we have cars with different characteristics racing against one another. Some cars stronger in one section of the track, other cars stronger in others, and the BMW very definitely strong on the long straights. But meanwhile, the race has belonged to Sunny Wong and his teammate He Xiaole as they go around the tight, twisty back section of the track now. Sunny Wong, a fantastic effort in the second half of the race to catch up with Liao Yang, and credit must go to his teammate He Xiaole as well, not only for putting him in a very good position for him to catch and pass Liao Yang, but also for looking after the car, looking after those tyres. It's very hot out there today, and very important for those cars that decided not to change tyres. Very important to keep those tyres nice and fresh. You don't want to blister them. Sunny Wong going through the final corner now, and Alex Fontana in 3rd place, going very close up to the back of Liao Yang. Sunny Wong coming through to take the checkered flag to win race 2 here in Sepang. Liao Yang takes 2nd place just behind Alex Fontana, who was closing up. Alex Fontana took 2.5 seconds out of Liao Yang on that final lap, but ultimately not quite enough, just coming up short in 4th place. In 3rd place, beg your pardon, in 4th place is this car, the 87 KTM Crossbow of Liu Kai and Wei Tianyi. Had a very exciting beginning to the race, but now driving, finishing in a rather lonely, but nevertheless a very solid 4th place here at Sepang. And now this, the battle for 5th place between the 618 Aston Martin of Yves Volt and Stanley Yang, just ahead of Oscar Lee and Yunhao Yao. In 6th place, Kenny Chung and Senan Fielding only 7th in the 55 Ginetta after Senan Fielding took the lead early in the race. So that car not able to keep pace at the front. There you see the 2nd place car driven by Will Bamba and Liao Yang. Liao Yang had been leading the race after Will Bamba's very solid first stint, but ultimately having to give best to the fellow Mercedes, the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes of He Xiaole and Sunny Wong. A fantastic race from those two, and some great racing up and down the field here in this GT4 race, the second of two GT4 races here this weekend. There you see the 5 and 6 Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes line astern. A good race from the Phantom Pro Racing team. They finished first and second in yesterday's race, and second and third in today's race. A very solid weekend all round here in Sepang for the Phantom Pro Racing team. Finishing first and third, I should say, beg your pardon. Of course, winning the race, He Xiaole and Sunny Wong. In second was the number 22 Mercedes, that is the D2 Racing team. So 2 wins out of 2 this weekend in GT4 for the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes team. I should think they should be absolutely delighted with that result. Phantom Pro Racing, a new entrant into China GT for 2019, and this Mercedes-AMG GT4, a brand new car as well. So a lot of firsts here in Sepang. This, of course, the first time that the China GT Championship, which is now in its 4th year, has taken in a championship round outside China. And a fantastic place to have it here at this Sepang International Circuit. Some fantastic facilities here. 5.543 kilometers, a very challenging track, 15 turns. We've seen some fantastic racing here, a very wide race track as well. Lots of overtaking opportunities, and we've seen plenty of action up and down the field here in Sepang, around about 40 kilometers south of Malaysia's capital, Kuala Lumpur, as the race winner, the number 6 car, comes in to take the plaudits. There you see Liao Yang having stepped out of his number 22 D2 Racing Mercedes, and there Sunny Wong, absolutely delighted, receiving the congratulations from his teammate and his crew, and they have every reason to be absolutely delighted with the performance today. A fantastic drive from both Sunny Wong and He Xiaole, winning the race for the Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes team. And now taking the plaudits from mechanics, engineers, other team members and well-wishers alike. We'll be hearing from those drivers very shortly. Understandably, a lot of handshaking and backslapping going on. There you see Alex Fontana in the background with the Swiss flag on his helmet, very recognizable, as Sunny Wong sorts himself out, gets his helmet off. You can see the hands device there, the 2 prongs coming off the bottom of the helmet, and that is to protect the driver in the event of a collision. It prevents the driver's head from moving too far forward or back, and prevents the driver from having a nasty case of whiplash. A very important safety device that you see in motor racing all over the world now, very standardized, and the driver's certainly very used to that. And fantastic racing. And let's hear now from Sophie, and she's with He Xiaole and Sunny Wong, your race winners today.
好，非常祝贺在我身旁6号车组的2位车手何小乐和王日升是获得了我们的第2回合 GT4 组别的冠军。先从小乐开始，因为你也说了35公斤，今天开始的时候就感觉到了他的压力。那么昨天到今天，因为毕竟今年的新的规则，第2场比赛你必须得从这个杆位来起跑。对于整个这个战术上有没有什么安排？
其实我是希望在头几圈可以有更多的时间去阻挡我们的对手，或者说拖慢他们的时间。但刚才我下来的时候，你采访也说到，其实对手在头几圈确实他们用到了轮胎最佳的性能。那我又尝试去 push 到更快的圈比昨天，但很可惜我们的重量啊，还有今天的温度上来，我只能尽量去保持跟他们的差距不被拉得越来越大。 但是最后我下来之后，换上3逆的时候也将近有10秒的差距，所以我相信，后半程其实3逆为我们的今天的冠军立上了汗马功劳，对。
夺冠大功臣啊 ！So Xiaole just mentioned about actually he tries his best to not keep that lots of distance away from the driver in front of him and trying to keep it, though there are 10 seconds difference between his car and the car in front of them. 我想问一下王日升啊，其实今天在最后几圈，尤其是最后剩下4分钟的时候，你和廖阳之间的这个竞争真的是非常激烈，尤其是你为大家呈现了一个非常不错的超车动作，能跟我们说一下那个部分吗？
其实能够胜出，其实是所有工作人员的功劳我只是把大家的功劳在短短25分钟里面尽量发挥出来，而且也队友小乐很完整的把赛车很健康的交给我，对，这个是非常重要的，所以我在后半段我基本上是可以全力去冲刺，然后我告诉自己一旦遇到前面有要超的车，我必须很果断的做一个超车的动作，不然跟着他1个圈2个圈几个弯之后，可能对手就会学习到我的公式，所以在进攻方面今天会比较拼搏一点，但是还是安全的把赛车送回来。
谢谢 Sunny. Sunny just mentioned about actually he take a very aggressive move, especially he just take immediate action when he got chance to overtake the car in front of him. And definitely these two bring us a very excited GT4 racing today. Thank you so much. Congratulations for the victory. 再次祝贺2位获得 GT4 组别的冠军。接下来将我们现场转回交解时间。那稍后呢，我们还有 GT4 组别的亚军进行访问。来 cross factory guys.
Yes, fantastic racing from He Xiaole and Sunny Wang. He Xiaole doing well to consolidate at the beginning of the race. Sunny Wang doing very well and very aggressively, forcing his way past the 22 car to lead the race and take the overall win. And let's hear from the second place duo of Will Bamber and Liao Yang, and they're down there with Sophie just now.
好，身旁的22号车组的获得我们本场亚军 GT4 组别亚军的车组2位车手 Will Bamber 和廖阳。Started from well, you participated China GT4 lots of years, and for GT4 category this year, what difference do you think it has, like more fierce competition or lots of more professional drivers?
Yeah, I think the GT4 competition is becoming really fierce now. A lot of cars. And so a lot of professionals coming in as well at that make. So we're going to have a lot of close racing this year. The start of the race was awesome fun. And then you saw at the end there, 3 cars closing up really nice and tight for some good action. So hope everybody enjoyed it. It was definitely fun behind the seat. And hopefully there's more to come today.
Thanks a lot. Well, 也跟我们总结了一下，这周呢其实有更多专业的车手加入，同时呢比赛真的是非常的精彩。尤其呢在整个比赛过程期间呢，他们的这个整个竞争状态呢也是不错的，也希望能够保持到下一站。17岁的廖阳 D2 车队的新星啊，能跟我们说一下，今天其实从第6位发车，最后第2完赛，是不是你想的一个结果？尤其是当时6号战车在你前面的时候，会不会有一些遗憾，没能超过他拿到冠军呢？
能上前3确实是个荣幸，可是就是因为一些小失误、一些激烈的碰撞，导致说第2完赛这个样子。
非常感谢廖阳。廖阳 is only 17 years old, and he said it's a great pleasure to stand on the podium. And so podium finish for the weekend is definitely a very good thing, and just avoid some contact and the mistakes in the future. One more time, congratulations for both of you and the cross factory guys. 转回到我们的解时间。
Well, Will Bamber summed it up very well when he talked about the increased competitiveness in the GT4 category here in the China GT Championship. And his teammate Liao Yang, though he didn't manage to hold on for the win at the end, just 17 years of age, certainly a very promising prospect for the future. Confirmation then of the results as they stand at the moment. He Xiaole and Sunny Wang winning the race. Will Bamber and Liao Yang in second place. Alex Fontana and Chris Chia in third place. In fourth place, the number 87 car of Liu Kai and Wei Tianyi. In fifth place, Yves Volt and Stanley Yang in the 618 car. In sixth position, the 51 car Oscar Lee and Yunhao Yao. In seventh position, Senan Fielding and Kenny Chung in the Ginetta. In eighth place, Dominic Ang and Anthony Chan in the number 12 car. In ninth place, the number 3 car of Yang Shi and Yan Chuang. In 10th place, the number 10 car, driven by Simon Chan and Jeffrey Z. Then, in 11th place, the number 91 car of Robert Webb and Eric Wong. In 12th position, the 619 Aston Martin. And Mitch Gilbert and Shuja, unfortunately, non-finishers in the number 7 Kings Racing. So a fantastic start there. The number 6 Mercedes immediately taking to the front, followed by the 51 BMW. Lots of very close racing as they went through these first sequence of corners. The KTM notably losing out there, perhaps its lack of top-end speed, and some good racing at the front here between Hirschaller and Senan Fielding in the Ginetta, and the British driver eventually getting round, going round the outside to take the lead that he was to hold until the pit stops. Good racing between these front 3 cars. For the first portion of the race, Senan Fielding up front, Will Bamber then taking second place from Hirschaller further down the field. Some good racing between the number 12 Lotus and the 619 Aston Martin, and those two at it hammer and tongs all race long. Good to see close racing in this GT4 category even further down the grid. Then again, 3 wide as these cars went through the first corner. That's the 51 BMW muscling his way through past the KTM, who also lost the place there to the number 5 Mercedes, driven by Chris Chia. And the BMW had an unfortunate time of it yesterday. Good to see finishing the race in 6th position today. The KTM there getting through as the Mercedes ran wide off turn 14. Just goes to show how important it is to get good drive off that long right-hander at turn 14 onto the long back straight. Meanwhile, up at the front, there's Will Bamber in the number 22 car. Will Bamber, who was running in 2nd position at this point, being challenged very closely by Hirschaller, who looked to go up the inside there. Hirschaller just nudging that car, and the number 6 up into 2nd position. The number 6 car and the number 22 car there in the same shot. Lots of good close racing between the Mercedes drivers today. Mercedes ultimately finishing 1st, 2nd and 3rd. And there we saw the number 6 car driven at the end by Sunny Wong, having overtaken the 22 car driven by Liao Yang, who finished in 2nd place, and with Alex Fontana and Chris Chia in 3rd place.
好，您现在看到的是2019赛季中国超级跑车锦标赛马来西亚站 GT4 组第2回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of GT4 class at the Round 2 of China GT Championship 2019 in Malaysia. 首先，让我们有请本场的冠军车队，来自于魅影车队，有请 The winning team of the class from Phantom Pro Racing Team. 有请本场第3名车手组合，同样来自于魅影车队 Alex Fontana 和谢安。The second runner-up goes to from Phantom Pro Racing Team Alex Fontana and Chris Chow. 有请本场第2名车手组合，来自于D2 车队 Will Bamber 和廖阳。The first runner-up goes to from D2 Racing Team Will Bamber and Liao Yang. 有请本场第1名车手组合，来自于魅影车队何小乐和王日升。The champion runner-up goes to Fun from Racing Team 何小乐 and Sunny Wong. 有请我们的颁奖嘉宾，来自于北京珠穆朗玛移动通信有限公司周家总裁。Let's welcome our president to the 8 World Top 3 place getters from the president of 8848 Titan cell phone brand, Mr. Zhou Jia. 好的，请我们的颁奖嘉宾留在台前，与我们的获奖车手合影留念。好，恭喜我们的获奖车手，也感谢我们的颁奖嘉宾。好的，谢谢我们的颁奖嘉宾，您这边请。那现在留给我们车手的是香槟的时间 ，Now is the champagne time。
Just mentioned about